All right, we're ready. Happy Tuesday, June 21st. Today, Joseph turns 31 years old. And so, on behalf of my 31st birthday, I worked all day. And so it was really great. I sat in a meeting from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. And so it was pretty awesome, but it was very productive. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks. So little recap from last week is we talked about Facts Over Fads merging and partnering with Camp Gladiator. And just a recap on that is nothing will change for you guys as of right now. There is literally no way for things to change for you guys right now. There's just no way. And so don't worry about that. One day you might get billed from CG instead of Facts Over Fads, and that's totally okay. Your price point is going to stay the same and all that good stuff. So nothing's going to change there either. We also partnered with Northside Independent School District in San Antonio, and then we're also partnering with a company called I Am Lift in Houston. So a lot of cool things going on in the Facts Over Fads world. And so if you see some things popping up, that's just what that is. And so if you want to learn more about that stuff, it's in the recording from last week that I actually sent out like the same day it happened. So I know you were all in shock about how fast I sent out the recording. You're welcome. I'm getting good. That will not happen today because I have to drive back to San Antonio. I'm in Austin right now. We had a 2-day leadership meeting for Camp Gladiator to discuss the future of Camp Gladiator. And so it was a very life-changing meeting for the last 2 days. So that was exciting. So Melissa Boyer, I think is her last name, Melanie, not Melissa, Melanie, in the Facebook group, brought up a great topic about exercise. And so I wanted to dive in today about some exercise, and then we can get out of here maybe a little early. But she asked, what was everyone's routine? What were they currently doing? And there was like a lot of great feedback about what people used to do, what people are doing, what people think they want to do in the future. And so I want to try to tie all of that together and maybe help people make some decisions on what to do from a fitness perspective. And so first thing is your nutrition plan will always support whatever exercise routine you want to do. The way that we are so balanced, it makes it almost impossible for you to have negative results. So there is some times where you guys will send us in-body printouts or a body composition analysis of some sort, and you'll say, it says I lost muscle mass and blah, 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 blah. If you are following your meal plan and you are doing some sort of strength training, and we'll get more into like the strength training here in a second, but if you're doing some sort of strength training, it is literally impossible for you to lose muscle mass if you're following your meal plan and if you're doing some sort of strength training without having a massive weight loss, right? Without losing 30, 40, 50 pounds. If you start losing a massive amounts of weights, some muscle mass will come off with that. But there's not very many people that fall into that category. So keep that in mind. So the first thing we want to talk about with fitness in general is a term called progressive overload. It's something that is kind of overlooked. I'm going to change because I feel like I'm really dark. I'm going to try to pivot over here. There is, no matter if we're talking about strength training, group fitness, cardio, whatever the case may be, we have to first think about progressive overload. Without progressive overload, the feeling of being uncomfortable, there will be no progress, right? You can't do the same thing over and over and over and over again and expect the same results every single time. Your body is too efficient. Your body is too good at being lazy. Your body is too good at figuring out how to do that thing more efficient every single time. So you have to change it up. That's literally what that means. We have to change it up some way, somehow. There's a couple ways we can change up fitness. We can lift heavier weights. We could do more reps with the same weight. We could run further. We could run faster. We could do workout longer. We could increase intensity, like speed some way, somehow. So, let's say you take a workout and it took you an hour to do it. Could we do the same exact workout in 50 minutes, 45 minutes, 40 minutes? Could we do the same exact thing faster? Meaning we would increase intensity. That's a way to do it. And so those are all kind of progressive overload ideas. And so let's kind of jump into the different types of fitness out there. And so we're going to categorize CG Camp Gladiator and all other group fitness type classes together, whether that is Orange Theory, F45, CrossFit, whatever you are doing in a group setting that is more focused on the go, go, go mentality. No breaks or very little breaks. We have this workout on the board like you see behind me, and you've got to complete it in your hour class or your 30-minute class or your 45-minute class. Just finish it, right? That is group fitness in a sense, all right? And so there's a couple positives, there's a couple negatives, and there's a couple positives with everything, and there's a couple negatives with everything. So don't think that you're ever going to find a fitness routine that's just all positives. It doesn't exist, all righty? So a couple positives about group fitness, Camp Gladiator, Orange Theory, F45, things like that. Really good if we are comfortable in a group setting, really positive if we like being around people, really positive if we need to get moving some way somehow but don't know what to do, and really good if we can't work out every single day, because most of those classes are full body, and so maybe we just do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we do our full body every single time. Very beneficial for that. You would never go to the gym and do full body every day. That should not happen. We should kind of break up muscle groups if we're going every single day. All righty. And so really good for muscle endurance, really good for cardiorespiratory fitness. And I'll kind of explain that word here in a second. And really good for overall health, right? And so if you're just like in this mindset of, I just need to be healthier, I don't really have a goal. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe it's just, I don't know, I want to be a little bit more strong or maybe a little bit more tone. But you're just like, you know what? I want to live longer. Group fitness is the way to go. All right. Cardiorespiratory fitness. Some people call it cardiovascular fitness, but the respiratory system is actually taxed and adapted and utilized way more than the vascular system. And so respiratory meaning our lungs and how we breathe, vascular meaning our veins and arteries and stuff like that. And so cardiorespiratory fitness is increased more so in the group setting because it is so go, 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 go. Sometimes there's a strength component. Sometimes there is like a circuit component. Sometimes there are intervals. It doesn't really matter. Your heart rate and your respiration rate, your heart rate is beating really, really fast. That's cardio. And then your respiration rate, your breathing is also increasing because of these sections of the group fitness workout. And so your cardiorespiratory fitness, it will benefit way more than if we were just strength training at the gym, right? That would not happen at the gym. So it's great for accountability, it's great for community, and it's great for motivation for all those things. So if you're sitting there thinking like, can I go to the gym by myself? And if that answer is no, don't go, don't try, don't even put that in your wheelhouse of an idea. If you're like, oh, I just hate groups, I just hate being around people, I feel like everyone's watching me, don't go to a group fitness class. Don't go to a Camp Gladiator or Orange Theory, right? Don't try to force yourself into these environments if you know that it's not a good answer for you. Now, there's always that, well, you got to get uncomfortable, or you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so if it's one of those things of like, oh, I may be being stubborn because I don't like people, then maybe go try a group fitness class, right? If it's like, well, I just don't have the motivation to go work out on my own, then maybe we try to work out at a different time, or maybe we try to bring a partner with us, like an accountability buddy to go to the gym with us, right? So there's a couple tools to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, some things to hold you accountable. And every group fitness class has a trial that you can do and not get locked into a contract. So just go try it, right? Go try a class, go try a week, whatever the case may be. And then Natasha said, also good if rewards are a motivator for you, right? Like, yeah, so a lot of these group fitness companies, these really big corporate companies will give you some sort of rewards, right? So Camp Gladiator, we have a point system, we have referrals, all that good stuff. And so you get points that you can spend to buy clothes or pay down your bill or whatever. I think Orange Theory has splat points with your workouts and stuff like that. And I'm not 100% sure what F45 does, but there's also that external motivator to go more often to get more points. And those points will help you do something within their company, right? So that's pretty cool to think about as well. So Natasha had a really good point. Now, some of the downfalls with group fitness is progressive overload. It is really hard to progressive overload in a group setting where it's complete this workout to the best of your ability, because we naturally limit ourselves. we naturally will take a step back and not work hard because it's uncomfortable. So if we have a list of things to do and we know we have to do all of them no matter what, we can't skip it, we're going to have to do it some way, somehow, we will limit prior exercises to save energy for that thing or the things coming in the future, right? And so progressive overload is really hard for that reason, number one. But number two, if we have like set weights, so, Camp Gladiator, everyone brings out weights. And so maybe you have 15s or maybe you have 20s, whatever the case may be. If you have 15-pound dumbbells and I just want you to do squats, it's doing almost nothing for your squats. 15-pound dumbbells is not enough to progressive overload your legs. Your legs are way stronger than that. Okay. You'd have to do millions of squats to get some sort of progressive overload, to build muscle in your legs or to get your legs to be stronger. There's no reason that our dumbbells that we use for our arms should be the same weight as the weights that we use for our legs. There's no reason that should exist. A cool thing about F45 is that the different stations have different weights. And so you can use different weights for an upper body station or a lower body station or things like that. But it's still not as much as if you were going to go to the gym and you needed to do just straight deadlifts or straight squats or straight lunges. You could go much heavier in the gym atmosphere. So progressive overload is really tough because we personally limit ourselves. No matter how much your trainer pushes you, no matter how much your trainer coaches you, we are always going to slow down just a little bit because we know that there is more to do. There's only so much progressive overload we can do like in the last round. So a trainer may say, hey, this is your last round. Give it all you got. You got 2 minutes left. Crush it. Go as heavy as you can. Go as fast as you can. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, what did we just do for the last 58 minutes? What did we just do for the last 43 minutes if we're going to F45? What did we do for the last 28 minutes if we have a 30-minute workout? And so it's almost like not much happened over here. And then we just try to save our energy for these last couple minutes because, again, we were prepared for it or the trainer told us it was going to happen or whatever the case may be. So progressive overload is really, really hard in a group fitness setting after a couple months. If you're brand new to it, everything will feel hard. Everything is going to get you out of your comfort zone. You're going to be breathing heavier. Your muscles are going to be sore. They're going to be achy. That is always going to happen. But after a certain period of time of doing it consistently, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever the case may be, that progressive overload is going to be really, really hard to accomplish for those reasons that we just discussed. So hope that kind of makes sense from a group fitness standpoint. There's a place for it. There's a time for it. If you're just trying to be healthy, you just need the accountability or you're not going to do anything at all. If you are a people person, if you just need the community aspect, group fitness is your spot. Go there. However, when you come and let's say you're talking to me or you're talking to another trainer and you say, I want to build muscle, that's not going to happen at a group fitness class. It's just really not. CrossFit is, I would say, a little bit better at building muscle because they have barbells and they have really heavy weights that you can do, as long as you're safe and comfortable doing the things they're asking you to do. And again, you're progressively overloading it. You're not going from 0 to 100. You're kind of making small steps to get stronger, and it's safe and effective, right? So CrossFit's a little bit better at it because they have like the barbells and they have heavy kettlebells, whereas like Orange Theory, Camp Gladiator, and F45 don't really have that heavy of weights, all righty? So keep that in mind. Really good pros, but also some cons, all right? So then we're gonna go down and we're gonna talk about just the gym. Just the gym, whether it's you're working out at home because you have your own gym, whether we're going to Gold's Gym, Lifetime Fitness, LA Fitness, whatever the case may be, just gonna go strength train and maybe do some cardio, right? Not talking about the gym classes that the gym may offer because they have classes as well. And so first thing we gotta realize is we're probably gonna be there by ourselves. Maybe we have a gym partner to go with us. Maybe we don't. Maybe we go with a spouse, but you separate while you're there. Like he goes and does one thing, female goes and does something else, whatever the case may be. And you guys split up, or are you going to work out together? Now, I will tell you from my personal experience, if I work out with someone who is not as strong as me, they will get really, really good. They will get really, really strong, and I will stay the same. I won't get weaker, but because I'm helping push them and bringing them up to me and nobody's pushing me to go further, because I almost have no goal, right? It's like, well, I'm used to doing this. You're not. So I'm going to help get you to my level, but there's not another level for me to go get because no one's pushing me and there's not someone that I'm chasing. We love to chase people. We love to try to compete with other people. So whoever's the weaker of the two, the weaker person will see way more results than the stronger person. It happens all the time. Okay. So if you're the stronger person, there will come a time that you're going to need to find a new partner, alrighty, or some sort of get with. Lane is a great strength coach. I would love to be your strength coach, but I'm too busy. But we get a good strength coach that can help set some of these goals. So hey, I squatted 100 pounds today. When should I expect to squat 110 pounds or 120 pounds? Get a good strength coach that can work through some of those things with you, where you're tracking your weights and your reps and stuff like that. So there is that caveat. And so next, it's really good for building strength, really good for building strength, really good for building muscle. So there are two types of muscle building, which we need to talk about, because it's almost the same for fat. It's almost the same for fat cells. We do not create more muscle very well. The creation of more muscle is called hyperplasia. And so that is like, hey, I have 100 muscle fibers. I want 105 muscle fibers. That is called hyperplasia. That very rarely happens in adults. Happens more in kids because we're still maturing, we're still growing and things like that. Once you pass maturity, whatever that age is, I'm 31, I still don't think I'm mature, but that's fine. Once you pass maturity, you do not build or create, we'll say create more muscles. That doesn't happen anymore. But what we do, that's my maturity. Yes, I do. And so what we do is we take what we have and we make those muscle fibers bigger. That is called now I'm drawing a blank. That is called hypertrophy. Sorry, hypertrophy. Okay, so building more muscle fiber or building bigger muscle fibers. So that's what we do. And so it's the same for fat. So when someone is losing fat, you are not getting rid of fat cells. You are taking your current fat cells and you are shrinking them. When you gain fat, you are taking your current fat cells and you are expanding them. That is what happens. We don't lose fat. The only way to lose fat is liposuction. Okay. I don't even think the research is there for freezing fat. I think when you freeze fat with the cool new fad going on, all you're doing is shrinking them. It's just like when you freeze something, everything except for water shrinks, right? It doesn't disappear, it just shrinks. So same thing happens for fats, same thing happens for muscles, all righty? So we have that we need to consider. We're just building what we have, we're making our muscle fibers bigger. Alrighty. But it's not so great for accountability. It's not so great for community. It's not so good for motivation, and it's not so good for cardiorespiratory fitness. Okay. So it's not really good unless we are creating our own circuits inside the gym. And then we would kind of fall back into that routine of a group fitness class. So our strength results would be less because we're more focused on the circuits. We're more focused on completing a set amount of exercises before we leave. So our intensity and our strength would decrease because we're just trying to get things done. And so that's what the gym is not so good for. All righty. So with progressive overload, if we don't have a strength coach and we are new to the gym or we are not comfortable in the gym, it's really hard to know when should we increase our weights, by how much should we increase our weights, when should I do more reps, when should I do less reps, yada, yada, yada. It's very hard. And so it's also expensive to hire an in-person personal trainer. So let's say you really wanted to just go really hard on some strength training and you wanted someone to be there to spot you and support you and keep you safe and stuff like that. So you wanted to hire an in-person trainer. That's pretty expensive. Okay. Somewhere between $60 and $100 per hour. So if you see your trainer once a week and it's at $60 per session, that's $240 a month, right? If it's closer to $100 a session, or you want to see them 2 or 3 times a week, it just goes up and up and up. So it is a big investment. I think it is one of the greatest investments to do if you are not comfortable in the gym or you're not sure how to progress. Probably a little biased because I'm a personal trainer, but I do think it is a really good investment if you're uncomfortable in the gym and you need that extra push and you need that safety. An in-person personal trainer could be an option for you. All righty. And so when we don't see progress. We don't have a trainer. We hit a plateau. We don't feel like we're getting stronger. We don't feel like we're building muscle. We don't feel like we're getting more tone. What are we going to do? We don't have the accountability. We don't have the community. We don't have the motivation. So when we hit a plateau, what happens, right? What are we going to do to ourselves? We're probably going to decrease our motivation. We're probably going to stop going because what's the point? And if we haven't found a really thorough love for just strength training, we're probably going to fall off that bandwagon. It happens all the time, right? The beauty behind group fitness is hopefully someone's always there checking in with you. You get attached to the community, whether you're seeing results or not. So you just keep showing up and at least you're doing something rather than nothing. Okay. So again, some pros and some cons for some strength training. We had a question and it says, what about lighter weights and higher reps? Maybe to failure, beneficial. So it depends on the rep range and your goals, okay? So if we're gonna do lighter weights, higher reps, could we burn more calories? Yes. Could we see more muscle tone? Depends on how high the rep range is. So doing 10 squats versus 20 squats, could we see more muscle tone? Probably. But going from 20 squats to 50 squats, probably not. Probably not much more muscle tone is going to be there because muscle tone is a brain thing. Everyone thinks it's just like your muscles doing cool things. It's not. It's actually your brain doing cool things. And we need to stimulate. We need to activate more muscle fibers to also achieve muscle tone. And so what ends up happening, it's really cool. When you pick up a weight, your body will know exactly how many muscle fibers to activate to do whatever it is you're about to do. So let's say I'm going to do squats. When I pick up weight or when I put weight on my back or whatever the case may be, my body will say, okay, Joseph, you have 100 muscle fibers, but for the weight that you've just picked up, we only need to use 50 of them. The other 50 are not going to be worked, right? They're going to go through the motion, but they're not going to be stimulated. They're not going to be turned on. And so it's called the all or nothing principle. And so literally a motor unit is a nerve that activates a certain amount of muscle fibers. Getting super nerdy, this is like what all of my degrees are in. So one nerve activates a bunch of muscle fibers, and maybe we need 2 or 3 nerves that activate a bunch of muscle fibers to complete the squat at whatever the weight is, okay? So if I never have to activate more than 3 nerves to do the squats at a certain amount of weight, then whatever nerves are left over, whatever muscle fibers are not being utilized, will never be tone. So we can only increase tone so much without increasing weight. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now, is to failure, that's also really tough. A lot of times we think we're at failure, but what is really at failure is our brain and not really our muscles. It's another great benefit to having an in-person trainer is for them to show you exactly what failure is, right? And so let's say if you want to see what real failure is, do as many push-ups as you can until you can no longer get up, till you literally fall on your face. That's what failure is. A lot of times what will happen is you will complete your last rep, you will complete that last push-up, and you will mentally tell yourself, I can't do another one, so you will stop. But you never attempted to do another one. You actually never reached failure because you finished that last rep. If you finished the last rep, you are not at failure. So you have to actually fail the last rep. So it looks like falling. So Lane and I actually, a couple months ago, we were doing the squats and we had this conversation. We said, man, when's the last time you actually failed? When's the last time you squatted and you fell and the bar fell on you and all the weight fell on you and yada, yada, yada. And so I said, man, it's been probably years, probably 10 years since I've last fallen on a squat. And so we set up the racks to where when we fell, the bar got caught and it didn't smash us. And so we said, hey, we're going to squat until we fail. We literally put like 300 pounds on the bar, and Lane's a lot stronger than me, by the way. And so I think I failed at like 4 reps. I completed my 3rd rep. When I went down, I could not get up. So I failed at my 4th rep. And I think Lane got to like 8 or 9. So True failure is really hard to do, and it takes another person to probably push you there. So when people say, oh, I'm just going to do 50 reps to failure, you're probably not at 50. You're probably not at failure. You probably could have done 51 or 53 or 60 for all. You just mentally failed, which is not real failure. So going lower weight, higher reps has a benefit to a certain point, depending on the rep count. So again, 10 to 20 probably, but 20 to 50 probably not from a muscle tone standpoint. And then if we are truly trying to do failure, you probably can't do it by yourself. I'll just tell you that. Now, is it beneficial? Absolutely. Anything that you're going to do that is harder than whatever you have previously been doing, absolutely is beneficial. All righty. So if I split my gym time and I do strength in the morning and cardio in the evening, is that all right? We'll talk about that in a second because I haven't talked about cardio yet. Lauren says she loves her trainer. Natasha, yes, for your specific goals and program, yes. And so, yeah, I would have to do a proper, yeah, you have to know how to do a proper push-up, please. All right, so that's pretty cool. And then Lane said, yes, it's totally fine for you to do strength in the morning and cardio in the evening because of her program. And so that's also a yes. So I'll talk about that here in a second. So strength, group training, talk about that. Strength training, talk about that. Again, there's pros and cons of both. Not one is better than the other. So please do not walk away and be like, oh, Joseph said group fitness is stupid for building muscle. I kind of said that, but I didn't really mean it that way. And then strength training is not good for cardiorespiratory fitness, accountability, motivation, community, all that good stuff. So again, pros and cons to everything. Now, cardio. Cardio is cool because there are two types of cardio. We can do anaerobic cardio and we can do aerobic cardio. So you're like, whoa, Joseph, I thought just cardio was cardio. No, intervals, sprints are very different than running a marathon. Running up a hill is very different than walking on a treadmill, right? So two different types of cardio. So now cardio, I will change my verbiage and I will say low intensity, long duration cardio. So I'm going to go walk on a treadmill for 30 minutes, let's just say. It's one of the slowest ways to actually burn calories, right? So what do people do when we see them at the gym or when we see them walking around the neighborhood to burn more calories? It could look like walking at an incline if we're at the gym. It could be like walking with a weighted vest if we're walking around our neighborhood. It could be like going for a hike with a backpack. We could do things to speed up that caloric expenditure. However, just going for a walk doesn't actually burn that many calories. Okay, it's actually pretty small relative to your group fitness classes and relative to strength training. Okay, so that's why you always hear those things about you can't walk your way to weight loss, or if you want to truly lose weight, you need to do some sort of resistance training. You can't just do cardio the entire time because it's just not a very efficient way to burn calories if that is our only goal, right? If I'm just like, hey, I want to lose weight, like cardio should not be really in the conversation if initially, right? If I'm just like, hey, Lane, you want to lose some weight? And if I was just like, yeah, Lane, go do cardio 3 times a week, you're going to lose some weight. Probably not going to happen. Okay. And it's also the least effective way for keeping it off because it's not building muscle. And we know that building muscle increases your metabolism. And if we're increasing our metabolism, we can keep that weight loss off longer because we have a faster metabolism. So we're not building muscle. One, we're burning calories really, really slow unless we're increasing intensity some way, somehow, and we are not building muscle. And so it's not going to help keep that weight off. So again, we need something else. We need another type of program. Now, cardio is very beneficial for cardiorespiratory fitness. Why would cardiorespiratory fitness be beneficial for other things? What does that look like? Should I do cardio so I can increase my recovery time after my workout or even in between sets? Absolutely. So now I can be more efficient during my workouts and I don't have to rest for so long in between my sets because my cardiorespiratory fitness is at a higher point. So someone who does cardio with their strength training routine versus someone who does not do cardio, this person over here can probably get more things done at the same intensity if they have a higher respiratory fitness. That is why cardio is beneficial. Is cardio beneficial for recovery? Absolutely. Cardio is a vasodilator, so it helps expand our arteries and blood vessels, and so we can recover a lot better. We can get more nutrients into our sore muscles, and we can get bad nutrients out of our muscles, and so toxic nutrients, right? So when you work out, you break down muscle tissue. Those muscle tissues and those proteins are considered toxic. We need to get those out. We need to help get inflammation out, and so the inflammation is what causes most of our soreness. We need to help get that out, and movement and cardio helps do that really, really well. It's very beneficial for thinking and mental health, right? I don't know anyone who just like blacks out while they're going for a walk and doesn't think about anything, right? So it's a great time to just kind of calm down, think about things. If I'm reading a book right now called The Art of Impossible, and most genius ideas were all created doing some sort of low intensity cardio. So whether it was going on a hike, whether it was going for a walk, whatever type of cardio, a bike ride, whatever they're doing, most genius ideas came from a very low intensity cardio specific workout. I thought that was pretty cool. So we can think really, really well while we're doing cardio. I've done cardio like twice in the past 3 months, and both times I was on the phone with Deidre, and we were talking business. And so if you're on your own doing cardio, it is a very great way to reflect. So I'll say that, especially if we're kind of struggling with some stress and anxiety and stuff like that. Yeah, Natasha says my boss makes us walk for our one-on-one meetings. It's pretty awesome. It just helps turn everything on. It helps turn everything on. You're less distracted by whatever's around you at your house, your cell phone and stuff like that. And so going for a walk during your meetings, I think it's pretty awesome. So I love that. And so, however, if we do too much muscle mass, it is actually hurt. If we do too much cardio, it is actually hurtful for our muscle mass. Okay, so we don't want to. If we want to build muscle and we want to be toned and we want to have a faster metabolism and keep our weight off, we don't want to overload our cardio. Okay, so going back to Natasha's questions were, hey, is it okay if I do strength time in the morning and I do my cardio in the evening? Is that okay, or should they just be on their own day? So a couple things. Is it okay? The answer is yes, it's okay. It would even be okay if you had more time to just do your cardio after your workout session. That would also be okay. But if you can split it up and have a morning session and a night session, great, go for it. Would there ever be a reason where it would not be okay? If you are doing cardio every day that you are strength training, and your only goal was to build muscle and maybe mass gain, I want to put on weight, I would say then no. So if you're sitting there and you're like, man, I just really want to pack on some pounds, then I would not do cardio every day. I would say maybe you're doing strength training 4 days a week and you're doing cardio 2 times a week, right? And so that would be for like our mass gainers, people who want to build more muscle and gain weight and stuff like that. Because again, cardio is building or is burning calories. If I want to gain weight, I don't want to burn that many calories. If I want to build muscle, I don't want to do too much cardio because it's hurtful to muscle mass. There is something called mTOR. If you don't believe me, if you just Google mTOR, I'll put it in the chat, effects on muscle. And mTOR literally prevents anabolic things from happening. It prevents your body from building muscle. And when we do too much cardio, your body releases a lot of mTOR. Super nerdy, again, but you can always Google it and it will tell you the effects on muscle. Now, again, it's only if your cardio is outweighing your strength training. So if you're strength training for an hour and you're doing 30 minutes of cardio, you don't really have anything to worry about. If you're doing like 30 here, 30 there, and you really wanted to focus on muscle building, and you didn't want to focus on anything else, then maybe it's a conversation we have, or vice versa. If you only wanted to do cardio, you just want to kind of minimally just maintain muscle, then we could do the opposite. We could do an hour of cardio and 30 minutes of strength training, or whatever the case may be, right? And so there is a threshold where cardio will start hurting our muscle mass, which is also another point to bring back up in our group fitness things. So remember, if I've been using 15-pound dumbbells out at camp for the last 3 years, and camp, no matter what week it is, turns into a cardio-based workout because I am not strength training, I'm not lifting any heavier, I'm not struggling anymore, is there going to be a trade-off? Am I going to be doing more cardio than strength training? The answer is probably yes. Am I going to lose muscle? That answer also might be yes. It also might look like maintenance. It might also just look like you're not building any muscle. So again, it just kind of depends on your body, depends on your intensity, depends on the weights that you're using out at camp and how long you've been using them. And it depends on your nutrition plan. However, we don't have a single nutrition plan that's under 30% protein. 30% protein is double the amount of protein that someone needs to maintain muscle mass. So when people come to us, and it happens more often than I would like, but it happens often, and they say, I'm losing muscle. Look, I have my InBody printout. I'm going to show it to you. And it says I lost 2 pounds of muscle. That's why almost one of two things could happen. One, the scale could just be inaccurate. You could be dehydrated or overhydrated, and that affects the way that those scales read you. Or two, you're really not following your meal plan as much as you think you are. And in Lane's words, you should probably just follow your meal plan. And then, well, three, you could also be drinking a lot of alcohol, and alcohol is a catabolic agent, meaning it breaks down muscle tissue. So if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, that could, but you're following your meal plan great, and you're working out really heavy and strong, alcohol could be hurting your muscle mass. So keep that in mind as well. So to wrap all of that up, team dehydrated, come on, Natasha, drink more water. To wrap all that up, and then we'll be done. It's Erica, follow your meal plan, stop playing around. So conclusion, what do we do, right? So we've got group fitness, we've got Camp Gladiator, F45, Orange Theory, CrossFit, 9-round fitness, like just tons of boutique gyms. We got Les Mills classes at the gym. We've got body pump and all that good stuff, or strength training in just a gym setting. And you're just, hey, I've got this many sets of squats. I've got this many sets of leg extensions. I've got this many sets of lunges, and just doing sets and reps, and we get a break, and we get to push ourselves equally, hopefully, on every set that we have, or we get to increase our weight in some way, or we get to increase our reps, or whatever the case may be. We have some way to scale it and not limit our future workouts and our future sets in the same exercise, or not limit our future exercises in the same workout bout. So like, for instance, Lane and I go to the gym, and we open it up with I don't know, leg press, right? Well, no matter how hard and heavy we go on leg press, whatever we do next, I'm going to go equally as hard and heavy. Maybe not equally as hard and heavy as Lane, because Lane's stronger than me, but my equally hard and heavy, all righty? And so my leg presses didn't hurt my effort on my next exercise. Whereas in like Camp Gladiator, we see it all the time where round one will affect round two, or this list of exercises, the beginning of that list will affect how you do the sequential ones. You're either going to work out weaker during your first couple exercises to save energy for what's coming next, or you'll go all out crazy in your beginning, and then you're just kind of half-assing it for the rest of the workout because you burnt out, right? And so it's really hard to scale intensity in a group setting. And so again, it's kind of a downfall there, but we have our downfalls for strength training as well. And so what it looks like is we probably need a combination of all the above. And so that is why Camp Gladiator is changing the future of Camp Gladiator. They've realized that when people, well, essentially everyone needs some sort of combination of all the above. Lane's primary focus is strength training, but guess what? He's also out running. He's running 4 miles here, 5 miles here. He's doing cardio there, right? Because we have a Spartan race coming up, and he's probably going to do way better than everyone else who's doing the Spartan race, and that's fine. Just kidding, Lane. But we need some sort of combination. And so Camp Gladiator is saying, hey, instead of letting people go, get these other things and these other products, why not just bring those products to Camp Gladiator? So the future of Camp Gladiator will look very different. And so we need some sort of combination of all the above. Does that combination look like a group class 3 times a week, strength training 3 times a week? Maybe. Does it look like strength training 3 times a week, a group class twice a week, cardio only once a week? Maybe. Does it look like I want to do cardio because I'm running a marathon 4 times a week, and then I want to do group fitness twice a week, and then I want to do some sort of recovery day once a week, and like yoga or something like that? Maybe. It looks like a combination of all the above. Very few people only need to do one thing. Very few. Even Michael Phelps, who is the biggest medal winner of the Olympics of swimming, did other things besides swimming. So if you're not as focused or as dedicated to one thing like Michael Phelps was to swimming, you're okay to go do other things. I can guarantee it. Okay. So don't limit yourself, and don't think that there's not room for it or that it's going to hurt something else. As long as your primary goal is taking most of your week, you're fine. Right. And so that looks like 4 out of 7 days. Or if I'm only working out 4 days a week, it looks like 3 of those days are doing what I want to do. And then one day, or like Natasha said, maybe she's doing strength training in the morning and some cardio at night. As long as whatever we're doing and whatever our primary focus is the majority of our workout schedule, everything else can take the back seat, but we still need them. We still need these other things. We don't ever just need one thing. All right. So if I'm doing group fitness and I really want to get stronger, I probably should go throw in some true strength training. There is not a way for you to truly strength train in the group setting. At least I haven't found one. I haven't found, unless you are doing like a small, like if you're with a personal trainer and you guys are in the gym and there's like 2 or 3 of you, that's a group technically, and it's training technically, but you're in the gym and all of you guys are doing squats or deadlifts or bench press or whatever the case may be. You're doing true strength training. You're doing a set, you're resting, then you're doing another set. That's true strength training. And so if that's your goal, I want to build muscle and I'm currently doing Orange Theory, you should probably add on a gym membership, okay? Or you should add on getting a strength program with Lane, right? You should add on something. You should maybe go figure it out on your own. I don't know, whatever it looks like for you and your budget. If you are a marathon runner, you cannot just, the fastest way to end your running career is to only run. If you want to end your running career, run every day of the week and don't do anything else. Your running career will be over faster than you could ever imagine. You need to do something else. You need to do something that's going to balance out running. Running, you are running in a straight line over and over and over again. Those repetitive impact, repetitive motions are going to create imbalances and you're going to get hurt. And so we want to balance that out with some sort of, it could be a group fitness class, it could be strength training, it could be some different type of cardio. Maybe we want to go for a bike ride, maybe we want to go swimming, maybe we want to go a rower, a hike, whatever the case may be, but we need to change it up because it's going to end your running career very fast. It's the same way when I'm in the gym. I can't lift heavy all the time. I can't 1 rep max or 3 rep max every time I go to the gym. I'm going to get hurt. So I have to change it up. There's not a single sport or goal that we can only do that one thing and expect it to last forever, because we would imbalance ourselves and we want to be as balanced as possible. So take like knee pain, for example, or back pain. The number 1 cause of back pain is tight hamstrings or tight hips, your piriformis, all these muscles. So what do you do when you go to physical therapy? You stretch out the things that are tight and you strengthen the things that are weak, because whatever you've been doing in the past has caused tightness somewhere and weakness somewhere else, because we didn't have a well-rounded program. Another benefit to having a personal trainer or a strength training routine that is hopefully well-rounded. All right. So we're trying to keep you moving healthier, safer, pain-free, longer. That's the goal. And we can only do that if we are tapping into different resources and different fitness programs. All righty. So I say all of that to say, if you are a diehard CG person, there's going to come a day where your body's going to hurt. And that pain is probably because you do CG too religiously for too long. You need to do something else. If you're a diehard runner, there's going to come a day where you have pain, and it's because you've been running for too long, too often. You need to do something else. If you are only a strength training person, all you do is go to the gym and you sit within a certain rep range and you sit within a percentage of your 1 rep maxes and you're super detailed with all of it, there's going to come a day where you have pain, and it's because you need to go do something else. Okay. So that's therapy, which is what my other degree is in. And it's all just based off of imbalances. And imbalances are just based off of what we do the most of, and we forget to do other things of. So a piece of our workout routine weekly might be adding yoga. That's what I need to do personally. And so to work out some of those imbalances, because you will find out really fast in yoga what's tight, what's weak, what's shaking, what's hurts. You will find it out very fast in a yoga session. And so it's a really big eye opener. So if you've never done yoga, maybe go do yoga to get more in tune with yourself. Yoga is really good at kind of centralizing you and feeling and having you feel, again, all of those things: what's tight, what's loose, what hurts, how far can we go in a pose or a stretch on one side of the body versus the other side of the body. It's pretty wild. It's very eye-opening. So add in some yoga, and again, maybe just once a week. It doesn't have to be every single day. If you are just like, I'm really confused on where my body's at right now. Yoga will help you figure that out very fast, like the first 5 minutes. Super hard. Yeah. So Natasha asked, is the StretchLab good? And again, if you guys have any more fitness questions, like put them in here because we're almost out of time. And so StretchLab is great. Someone is stretching for you, and then they teach you how to stretch, and then you do those things on your own. And so any place that's going to provide some sort of tightness, because most of us sit at a desk all day, right? I think I did a questionnaire today, I think, but I put, as a nutrition coach, I sit at the desk in front of a computer a lot. And so my routines need to be more posterior dominant of strengthening those muscles in my back and in my hamstrings, but also stretching those same things and stretching the front side of my body. Because again, my hip joint is constantly bent. So me standing up straight is actually going to get harder the more that I sit down. So it's going to affect my posture. If it affects my posture, it's going to affect my back. If it affects my back, so I'm going to have a back pain, right? And so I have to be really cognizant about that, going from being a personal trainer and a group fitness person and standing up and walking around and doing all this movement. I was actually more balanced then than I am now because I'm sitting at a desk for 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 hours a day, right? And so if you sit at a desk most of the time, we've got to kind of pay attention to those things. And so StretchLab is, Natasha, StretchLab is expensive because it's therapy, and therapy is expensive. Personal training is therapy, whether it's therapy because you don't want to think and you just want your trainer to boss you around, or because it's therapy because you just want to sit and talk our ears off, you got to pay for it, right? Therapy is expensive. However, most of the time your insurance can cover therapy. Your insurance isn't going to cover personal training. So it's expensive, and it's not going to cover the StretchLab, and it's not going to cover a Rosti and things like that. I think a Rosti is actually on the way up in the insurance chain. So some insurances will cover a Rosti to a certain extent. And a Rosti is just a pain clinic. We heal pain fast. They heal it by myofascial release. So if you're not foam rolling, you should probably foam roll, or getting a lacrosse ball and digging into your muscles and in the knots and stuff in your joints. And then they teach you stretches and they teach you strengthening exercises. So again, it's a form of therapy. Insurance should cover it all, Natasha. You should argue with insurance companies to get them to cover it all, to include nutrition coaching. I know that CG is adding certain workouts on demand like yoga. Do you recommend using the on-demand option or go to a class? Melissa, I would do whatever is more motivating for you. If you can hold yourself accountable by doing an on-demand option, then absolutely go do an on-demand option. If you're like, oh, I'm going to do on-demand today, and then you talk yourself out of it, and you've been talking yourself out of it for 3 months, then you should probably go in person. And so again, it's going to be an added expense, right? So right now it's included with CG. If you go to a yoga class, you have to pay a yoga studio or a yoga trainer or coach. I don't know what they call themselves. A yoga instructor, you're probably having to pay for it. So it's an added fee. Now, I think Natasha sent me a really cool thing about, someone sent it to me about, let's say you spent $150 on your fitness routine, whether it's like CG, which is, let's call it $70 a month. Let's say Facts Over Fads is $50 a month. That's $120. You have $30 extra a month to go spend maybe on something else. So maybe it's like dropping into a yoga class somewhere. Maybe it's adding a gym membership for about $30 a month. $150 a month to get a very well-rounded, able to do it forever health and fitness routine, or go buy a $5 cup of coffee at Starbucks every single day. Same price. Coffee gives you nothing forever. Your fitness routine and your health routine gives you everything forever. So it's all about kind of priorities, and it's all about just taking that idea of saying, okay, well, $150 a month to invest in myself and to make myself feel better, look better, be stronger, to be able to move more, to be able to be there for my kids, my grandkids, maybe even great grandkids, and be active with them. Or go spend $5 a month at Starbucks, and I could have made coffee at my house for 29 cents, but I wanted to go to Starbucks because it tasted better, right? And so I sent you the idiots with the money video. Yeah, I remember that. So everyone always talks about, like, when people cancel, it's always a money thing, always a money thing. And I almost want to refer them to Natasha and just let Natasha dig into their finances. But it's just really disheartening, because if I was to dig into your finances, I would pick out probably $500 of things you don't need, or things that it doesn't add us any benefit, right? And so let's just take, I'm not picking on it, but let's just take Netflix. And I think Netflix is like $10 a month. I have no idea. I don't have Netflix. So let's just say Netflix is $10 a month. That's $120 a year that I could have spent on something else that would have gotten me off the couch, that would have made me feel better about myself, that would have helped me live a year or two longer, right? And so Natasha said, show me your finances and I'll show you your priorities. It's like so huge. And so I talk to people all the time and people are like, hey, are you watching the game tonight? Like whatever sporting game? I'm like, no, like sports adds zero value to my life. I don't even have cable. If I have cable, because I also have an addictive personality. So if I have cable, I know that I'm going to use it. And if I'm going to use it, I'm going to sit in front of the TV for way too long. And if I'm sitting in front of the TV for way too long, I'm probably not benefiting my career. I'm not benefiting my relationships. I'm not benefiting my health. And those things are important to me: health, relationships, and business, right? Those are my priorities. So I really don't do anything that doesn't do one of these three. I don't spend money on anything that doesn't do one of these three things. All righty. And so I challenge you to really look at what are your priorities. And so like mine I have 3, maybe you have 4, maybe you have 5, or whatever the case may be, and look at where you're spending money and see if it's inside of those 3, 4, or 5 things, or if it's outside. And if it's outside, could we get rid of it? Right. And so it's always a tough conversation and a tough reality to have. But if you've ever had like a financial planner or a financial person look over your bank account statements, it's like hugely eye-opening. It's just like, man, we spend a lot of money on things that we don't need and we don't even really want. And so if I really asked you like, hey, do you want Netflix? You'd probably be like, nah, I don't know. Like every time there's a new season of Stranger Things, that's pretty cool. Happens like once a year, once every 2 years, maybe, I don't know. And so it's always, we're paying for things, and that's why subscriptions exist, is because they want you to forget them. So pay for something, forget about it, but let your payment keep going through. But a lot of times those subscriptions are not adding to whatever your pillars of happiness, we just call it happiness. So my happiness is business success, relationships, whether it is like a romantic relationship or just friends relationship, right? So like Lane and I went to the beach last weekend for my birthday. Like I would much rather spend money to go to the beach with Lane than watch Netflix all day and not have the money to go to the beach with Lane, right? Or my health. So I will spend money on gym memberships, and I will spend money on modality things like a little muscle gun or lacrosse balls or bands to stretch with, or whatever the case. Or like if y'all seen my garage gym, I will tell you right now, my garage gym cost me $30,000. Everyone thinks that having a home gym is really cool until you realize how expensive it is. But again, it adds to my business because I train one-on-one clients, and it's really, really convenient if I can't make it to the gym. And I also have a gym membership because I need some sort of like that community or some sort of that accountability. So I'm like, hey, Lane, let's go work out. And we figure out how to go work out together because I need him as an accountability buddy. And so again, try to remember like, what are ways that you can set yourself up for success? If you can figure that out and you can put your money there, I will guarantee you'll be way more successful than anything that Starbucks, Netflix, or whatever else is bringing you. And it's uncomfortable in the beginning. I was a big TV person when I was in the beginning stages of my military career. I was watching shows. I don't think Netflix was around, but we were sharing hard drives, and on our hard drives we had like Grey's Anatomy, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and so I had like these seasons of things, and I would binge watch them, and I wouldn't get anything done. No big deal. The CEO of Camp Ladder just waved to me goodbye. I'm just kidding. And so I would sit for hours and binge watch like Grey's Anatomy, and it added zero benefit to my life. And so as I got more busy, I started taking away those things. And then it was uncomfortable in the beginning. I was like, oh man, I'm missing a season, or I'm missing an episode, or whatever the case may be. But here I am like 10, 15 years later, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't miss it, and I'm so busy with doing other things that are added benefit to my life, to where I don't miss the things that are not added benefit. And so kind of, we talked about it before about mental health, but we have to learn to say no. And we talk a lot about saying no to other people. You got to also learn to say no to yourself. That is really hard. If you need a conversation about how to say no to yourself, I need you to talk to Lane. I'm not the best at it. I'm pretty good at it. Lane is really good at it. Lane is the best person about telling himself no because of a goal or a priority, right? And so Lane's really good at it. So I will give him a shout out there. And so if you need to talk to someone about, man, like I am my own worst enemy, go talk to Lane. And then we can obviously talk about it on your 30-minute calls, but Lane's really good at it. So blow up his phone instead of mine. And then when we have our 30-minute call, you can talk to me about it on that call too. But I think Lane's better at it. So another compliment for Lane. So we're always our own worst enemy. And it's always hard in the beginning, but it will get easier. Once you do without something for a couple of weeks, it's like, oh, it's not so bad anymore, right? The first couple of weeks are the worst with anything, with changing your routine, with taking something away, with adding something. When you started your new meal plan, really hard the first couple of weeks. As you've been doing it for months and months and months, you're like, oh, it's not so bad because I'm just so used to doing it already. I don't miss the other stuff, right? So same thing, same concept. So don't be afraid to tell yourself no. Make sure we have a well-rounded exercise routine. Make sure that our nutrition supports it. So not often, but maybe a couple times we've had people who have come out and said, hey, I'm, canceling fat or fads. I'm going to go back to keto, or I'm going to go back to Weight Watchers, or I'm going to go back to some extreme. And those extremes don't support your activity. And so we have a bunch of weight loss clinics that are out there floating around, and it's wild to me to think, okay, hey, fitness is one of the most healthy things that I can do for myself from a mental standpoint, but also from a physical standpoint. And you're going to give me some sort of crash diet and medication to where I can no longer work out, right? So you're going to give me an 800 calorie diet and a bunch of pills and injections. And also in your script of things to do and not do, you cannot exercise. That is wildly mind blowing to me. However, it happens. And so make sure that everything just kind of supports each other. And so the more that your day-to-day routines can support your fitness routines, that can support your nutrition routines, that can support just your overall lifestyle routines, the more successful you will be. You can't always work out and then go home to a very toxic environment that everyone beats you down for working out, right? That doesn't support each other, right? And so if anyone's ever made you feel bad, I make Lane feel bad all the time for working out. I'm like, Lane, you care about working out more than me. It's fine. Lane's really good at telling me no. But if you have that every day, very tough for you to be successful. So make sure that everything kind of supports each other, getting more into therapy on this, but everything gets a lot easier if everything is in alignment. And so I hope that everything for you gets in alignment, or it will never be successful long-term. You might have some temporary success. You might have, lost 5 pounds, lost 10 pounds, got a little bit stronger. But if other things or everything doesn't support each other, then it will stop at some point and you will go back to whatever it was you were doing before, or you will go back to whatever it is that these unsupportive people are asking you to do. So again, it's really hard to be successful with health if other people around you are not encouraging you to be successful. They don't have to do it with you, but they just don't have to pull you away from it. That's the goal, right? And so a lot of times I think we feel like I'm eating healthy, so my spouse needs to eat healthy. I'm going to the gym, so my spouse needs to go to the gym. It's not necessarily the case. They might not be ready. They might not need it. I don't know who doesn't need it, but I don't know. Maybe they're in a time of their life where it's just not a priority of theirs. They're too busy, too stressed, whatever the case may be. So it's not a good time. As long as they are not pulling you away from your health, it's okay. If they are, you've got to have that tough conversation. And we've had a call in the past about it, about having those tough conversations with your loved ones that are pulling you away from your health. So make sure they're not doing that, which is what I do to Lane all the time. Lane, stop working out. Let's go get sushi. All right, cool. See you soon. All right, I'm going to stop the recording.